All right, moving on. I want to talk about now Ben Garrison.
Ben Garrison is, you know how we say a lot going on? Probably the most going on ever is Ben Garrison.
Ben Garrison is a little bit different than these other guys in that I think he's like a slightly better artist. Like he's pretty good at like his lines and like what he's portraying is more complicated than the normal editorial cartoonist.
Yeah.
But it's like what's funny about Garrison, particularly in his portrayal of Donald Trump, is not that it's amateurishly drawn. It's just his mentally projected image of Donald Trump is so hilarious.
Hello, handsome.
Because it's like he's this muscle man.
Yeah, he's
like
a
chiseled
V-shaped
jaw,
Adonis with a giant flowing mane of hair.
giant flowing mane of hair, not some ridiculous comb over / wig.
He's not perfectly fucking rectangular like the real Trump is. He's not a perfect cube of gelatinous fat.
you know what Trump looks like? The energy shields from Dune.
Okay, that's good.
Watch the movie, please.
But what I like about Ben Garrison is that like what he does is he takes the normal editorial cartoon thing of like labeling everything. Like a guy will be like pulling it'll be like Obama pulling a big weight, and the weight will just be labeled like the debt or something, and he'll be like, why can't our economy take off? And it's like just says the minimum wage or something is holding it down. They're fond of that everything has to be labeled,
Which I kind of like because it's not a conventional political cartoon. It's so busy. It's like a big like Where's Waldo illustration.
Yeah, it's almost like kind of like a optical illusion almost. There's so much going on. You're sure you're missing something.
If you stare at it long enough, Trump's dick pops out in 3 dimensions.
They make Trump into John Bastow. That's the fucking best thing. Like a man notorious for being just look at Trump's head. Look at Trump's chiseled jawline. Trump's jawline, there are no sharp lines to it. It doesn't begin or end anywhere. He just has like a fat sack of custard around his head. But in this one where he's driving,
I want to describe this one. This is it says Trump Ranch. And Trump is driving a giant Cadillac with like steer horns on the front with a big T, and the license plate says Made in America, and it's a convertible, and Trump has a big 10-gallon hat on that says MAGA. And what he's doing is that he's driving through like a big mud puddle that's splashing onto a figure, like a figure that's supposed to represent journalism that's just a body with a CNN television, a television head and a CNN logo. And the media, CNN is saying, you're all hat and no ca, and then splash. And Trump says, more cattle.
Okay.
And on the other side of the road, what I think is interesting is all the cattle at the Trump ranch, which are labeled as jobs, TPP canceled, better trade deals, wall, SCOTUS. And what I like about this is that it implies that he's going to get out of his car and slaughter all of them. Then they're all just going to get a bolt in their head as soon as he gets out of his Trump Cadillac.
The cows are smiling here.
yeah, well, they want to die. Like,
As we all do. We all want to be killed by our blessed Lord God Emperor Trump.
these are like the Garrison in the same way. What Da Vinci was to the Renaissance, I think that Garrison kind of is to GeoHell, our current period.
And Garrison also, I also like him because not only does he portray the villains, the Nancy Pelosi's, the Bernie Sanders, the Barack Obamas, the campus PC leftists, he also portrays the heroes of the alt-right and the MAGA people, in that he has loving portrayals not just of Trump, but also of people like Stefan Molyneux, Milo. Does he ever draw on Cernovich?
Oh, yes. He draws Cernovich all the time.
In the Safe Space cartoon.
Yeah, the Safe Space cartoon's really good. Can we pull up the one where it's asteroids coming down on dinosaurs?
Yeah,
the asteroids are like PJW.
I'm looking through it now. Ooh, I hadn't even seen half of these. I think this is cool.
Yeah, Steve Bannon.
Oh, this one's cool. This one held up great. Release the Bannon, and it's a gigantic Steve Bannon, the Chthonian monster.
It's a take on Release the Kraken.
Yes.
but it's Bannon.
Sounds nothing alike.
And he's got these octopus arms, and is choking out Mitch McConnell, Paul Ryan, holding Hillary, and the Hillary one is labeled Cankles.
I gotta say, that is his most accurate representation. That is very Bannon-esque.
Yeah.
Just the grotesque kind of Cthulhu look.
I think it's funny that he's portraying Bannon as an octopus. Like with the octopus is usually a trope of sort of right wing populist anti-Semitism,
Yes.
and Bannon certainly represents
The
that
opposite
in our
of that.
culture. So maybe it is accurate.
And this one's fantastic just for the Lovecraftian themes of it. It's the one where Trump has a septic vehicle called Trump's draining service, and he's having to drain the swamp. And there's a massive green
Sort of a
monster.
swamp thing.
Yeah, this cyclopean creature labeled the Deep State, CIA, demanding, "What do you think you're doing?" And swimming around the swamp are Hillary and Obama. And there's John Podesta as an octopus holding satanic symbols and a piece of pizza. Very cool. We should get him to do our next poster, frankly.
We should get him to do our book jacket.
I legitimately like his art a lot. Like, I think he has a very interesting style. I think he draws.
He's
people.
better at capturing the likenesses of the. I mean, obviously his portrayal of Trump is absurd, but he is better at capturing the likenesses of these various figures.
Wait,
He definitely
talking
has
about
the
the
hottest
Cinevision.
Trump.
The safe space one, right?
Yeah. Where like Stefan Molyneux is arm wrestling somebody, and his bicep says logic, and his tricep says reason.
I just love the idea of somebody being that infatuated with the mental powers of a 60-year-old
I can find
psychotic in Canada.
In the short term, I found this one.
This one's
is a
awesome,
great
dude.
one.
This
It's
one's awesome.
Trump's here for no good reason. He's just holding a long printout of paper.
Trump
but
has no idea who
it's,
Stefan Molyneux is.
Yeah, it's Stephen Molyneux, and he's holding another piece of paper called "The Untruth About Donald Trump," and he's popping all these bubbles of screaming SJWs, saying things like "Trump's a racist," "Trump's a misogynist," and he's popping each one, and the pops, his pins are labeled "Logic," "Reason," "Evidence," and Stephen is saying, "Not an argument."
Yeah, that's kind of his catchphrase.
Is it really a catchphrase?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's his catchphrase.
What a shitty catchphrase.
Whenever people
He wrote a fucking book called The Argument.
and here's the one, Felix, you were talking about.
Oh, this one is so good. Okay, so at the center we have Stefan Molyneux, who's sort of like a weird Canadian man who makes videos where he screams and cries and is like he thinks that he was tortured as a child because his mom made him wipe his ass or something.
He always just looks like he's broadcasting from a bus station bathroom.
Yeah, it's like the Dan Quinn videos where he was in the Starbucks bathroom and then he was like, "Crazy Joe, I'm gonna stew you in your grave," and someone knocks on the door and goes, "Are you done in there?" And Dan goes, "I'm busy. Come back." That's Stefan Molyneux. But anyway, he's debating with an Antifa guy whose squiggly, almost fentanyl-ravished arm says name calling and it's quivering. And Stefan is saying autistic screeching is not an argument. And Stefan's bicep says logic, reason, evidence on the forearm. And he's like jacked, even though Stefan Molyneux, like anyone who does YouTube for a living, is sort of like a pear-shaped dullard. Then we have Gavin Mcginnis, fresh off of, really getting at Islam by snowballing with Milo, and his wife leaving him, is shoving a microphone into like, I think it looks like kind of like, it's like a goatee and long hair. It's and a manlet. So I would say like Jesus from fucking Big Lebowski.
Yeah, he's urinating himself. There's a Molotov cocktail on the ground, which he's not using.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh no, not Gavin Mcginnis." Then it's Kiara. I don't know who the fuck that is. Looking
One
at
of those chicks that they all honk off to
Yeah,
because she
any
posed Pepe once.
any normal looking woman who's like, "The West rocks." They're like, "I'll fucking die for you." Don't call her a thought.
There's Mike. There's Mike Thurnovitz.
Oh, he's doing my thing. He's doing what I do. He's protecting a woman.
Yeah.
Except it's the Statue of Liberty and it says free speech.
Yeah, he's saying, "I'm here to protect you," while cradling the Statue of Liberty, who's holding a copy of Gorilla Mindset.
Oh, this fucking.
That is great, because if we did right-wing cartoons as a joke, it would be exactly this.
This is really good, dude.
The other thing I'd like to point out with this one, the other figures is in the lower left hand corner. There's a girl, Lauren. Is that Lauren
that's
Southern?
Lauren
That's
Southern.
Lauren Southern, yeah.
Okay, Lauren Southern, and she's wearing a hat that says MAGA, and she's saying free speech is A-OK.
And she's making the
and she's
triggering them.
yeah, she's making the
triggering them,
OK
yeah.
gesture, which the fucking Shaggy from Scooby Doo is like freaking out about. Also, I want to point out right here. Here's a Molotov cocktail on the ground labeled violence.
Garrison is really good.
Garrison's a fucking
Yeah.
auteur. Like Garrison.
There's a lot. There's a lot more to talk about in his work.
Yeah,
than,
because all those other cartoons we talked about, except for Dry Bones, like they all made us kind of depressed because it just sort of
kind of boring.
and like no jokes or there's nothing really visually interesting. But Ben Garrison is like. He's like Kojima. Like, he's created this whole parallel world that's a little more exaggerated than ours, but it's true. It's like you can't deny that when you see a Molotov cocktail, you're like, that's violence. You can't deny that when a guy comes on campus and tells the Young Republicans Club not to come, that's like the Statue of Liberty. You cannot deny, and it is all logic, it's all reason, and they're all heroes.
Okay.